All right, in the last video, I talked about domains and inequalities. Now, this also means that you do not have to have in your answer, if you, by the way, this is the second part, this is really the kind of excellence bit, really. If you wanted to say, well, because in this, you need to show a company pick and pack, and you can do anything you want, really, but you have to show it's going to be less than the prices of everything else. To do that, what you might do is you might have a number of lines. Now you can have as many lines as you want. So for example, you might have a line that starts down, let's say here, and goes up to here. It's parallel to there, then stops, and then moves its way across here like this, all the way to there, and then moves all the way along here. Yeah? Now, of course, the distance we know is going to be between 4 and 10, yeah? So that was the distance they're going to choose. But if you want the company to be competitive in everything, you could actually have another line there or another way of stating it if you wanted. And so there's lots of things you could actually do. Let's say, just for argument's sake, that's what you did. That's what you wanted to do. So what you'd have to do is have this line here, whatever the equation of this line was, and then say, and the domain for this line is, and so you'd have to give an equation for that line, y equals mx plus c for that line, and then in brackets, and I'll use curly brackets here, we're going to have x value, and the x is going to be greater than or equal to, or in this case, no, you could have it less than equal to or greater than equal to. Yes, you could do that. But you're going to have to say what this domain is. In this case, this would be from 0 to 4, yes? So you're going to have to have 0 up until 4, yeah? And then you could have this one here, the next line, this one here, and this is going to be a y equals mx plus c of some sort. Don't know what, doesn't matter what. Now we've gone up to 4, equal to 4 here. So this one's going to have to be an x. It's going to have to be greater than 4 here. So it's going to have to be greater than 4 because this one's equal 4. So this is the next step, greater than 4 and less than, and it could be equal to, less than, say, 10. And then you might have a third line, which is a little tiddler up here, tiny little thing, a little puny line up here, and you might have a y equals blah, 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 blah. And of course, I've got y equals, but you want c equals because the cost, and then the m value is going to be the d, because it's the distance as well. But you do need to state a domain if you're going to have multiple lines. Otherwise, you don't need it, as far as I understand it. So just be aware of that. And again, this is excellent stuff. This is above and beyond everything else. But if you have a partial line, that is a line segment. The moment you have a line segment, you want to state the range of, that is the domain of values, I should say, the list of values for which it would be true for the distance, yeah? Now, I notice I put a dx in here. Really what I'm talking about is a d value. So I actually misstated that. That should be a d. And I think I also put this in the other one as well, a d value. But really we should be talking about, so in the other one, by the way, I did actually say x. You're going to have to ignore that. I apologize. And it's going to have to be a d value, yeah? And similarly, this is, as I say, a c, and an m is going to be a d value, and so on. But the distance here, the distance is going to have to be greater or equal to 0, less than or equal to 4. Here the d would be greater than 4 and less than 10, and so on. So you're going to have to state that. Otherwise, the line segment, it suggests that it probably is a continuous line, even if you don't put arrows on either end. So just be aware of this. That's what they're going to expect you to do. And as I say, I'm a little confused because it's not actually in the model answer that they provide. And it's also not in the curriculum. But they said if you have multiple things, you're okay as long as you state the values for which apply to that line. That's the key thing. You state, so I'll put here, yeah. If you are using a line segment, you must state the values which apply. So it should be, if you can, you might say, this is ideal, you might say domain, and you might go colon, you might have a curly bracket. I tend to use curly brackets. You don't have to. And you have a d value notice, yeah, and it's going to be greater than whatever the lowest value is here, yeah, greater than that value and less than an upper value of some sort here. Okay, I'll leave you with that, but that is what I would do if you wanted to get the maximum possible marks. You might get away without doing it, but I don't think so. So I've just been in contact with the head of maths who's going to be marking this, and this is what she stated. So just be aware of that. All right, hope that makes sense, folks.